Shalom. First off, I want to start out by giving all the glory, infinite praise, and honor unto Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, and salutation to the hopeful elect that is out there pushing this truth in all sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, giving diligence to make their calling and election sure. Shalom. This is your brother Hashar from the Great Millstone Savannah Camp, coming back in the spirit with another lesson. Lord willing, I pray and hope that it is edifying and exhorting. And I want to do this lesson, going into the interest rates cuts that just happened this past week. All right, and how it's gonna affect, or how it could affect, the U.S. dollar. How it could affect, you everyday Americans, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, of course, who this lesson is pertaining to, is for. All right. Basically how this lines up to biblical prophecy. Okay. So on Wednesday, the U.S. government, or the U.S. Federal Reserve, who's, contrary to popular belief, is not governmental at all. It's privately, run and controlled by the, Jewish bankers. Okay, so and these are the, your Rothschilds, your Gettys, the DuPonts, the Oppenheimers, the Rockefellers, these different families, right, that have, basically taken over global money. Okay, and they decided to cut interest rates. All right. And interest rates are, basically what regulates the flow of money in this society, right? If the interest rate is high, less people are spending because less people are borrowing. All right. And there's not a lot of, money around, or a lot of money circulating in the economy, right? When the interest rate is high, right? People aren't spending, they're holding on to their money, right? And this is what's been taking place really for the last 2 to 3 years in America, due to inflation, due to, the rising cost of everything, and, basically wages staying the same. All right. So this is gonna, affect, and it's gonna affect the everyday American citizen. All right. Now, in some places you might see relief. You might be able to borrow, money with a lesser interest rate. All right. But it's going to cause more money to be printed, right? Which is going to cause more inflation. Now, I put that in ChatGPT, right? And I asked, does interest rate cuts cause inflation? All right. And it says, yes, a cut in interest rates tends to encourage inflation by increasing consumer spending and business investments due to cheaper borrowing costs, which in turn boosts overall demand in the economy. Conversely, higher interest rates make borrowing more expensive, leading to a decreased spending and slower economic activity, thereby helping curb inflation. So they're trying to curb inflation, right? And basically they can't. Okay. And matter of fact, I want to get this precept. I believe it's Isaiah 54. Salaki. Don't want your update. And basically what they're trying to do, yeah, Jeremiah 51, right? What they want to do ultimately is to heal Babylon, right? They want to heal this place, right? But it's not going to work, okay? Salakia. And really, they don't want to heal it. They want to give the appearance of trying to heal it, right? while it basically is a controlled demolition of the U.S. dollar. This is Jeremiah 51 and verse 6. It says, "Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance, and he will render unto her a recompense." And this is what's taking place right now. The Lord is speaking to our people, telling them to flee, right? Mentally, spiritually, flee this place, right? Flee from the idols, flee from the American dream that you've been sold. Flee, right? It says Babylon have been a golden cup in the hand of the Lord's, in Yahweh's hands, the Lord's hands, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And part of that wine, that philosophy, came with the U.S. dollar. Okay, that this is what made the earth drunken was the U.S. dollar. The nations came, and they were able to set up shop in our neighborhoods, the so-called Negro Latino neighborhood, all right, and sell us poison and sell us debauchery and, just all manner of destructive, philosophy, wine, and, go back to their country and trade the U.S. dollar and, do the exchange rates. You would come up where you're from, right? And for years, this has been the case. But what? Now, things are not looking so good, right? The countries are moving away from the U.S. dollar. It says Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heavens and is lifted up even to the skies. And this is what the other nations are going to be saying in that day. All right. And a lot of them are already doing it. They're going back to their countries. They don't want to come here. Right. Because of, first of all, the living conditions are bad. Right. And then, the article is going into, man, this may just speed up inflation, right? We could be looking at that. And, who was a big proponent, a big push for that was DJ Trump, right? Verse 10, it says, "It shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, that there shall be a noise of a cry from the fish gate and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills," right? And this is talking about the total collapse of the U.S. economy, Babylon economy, right? It says, "How ye inhabitants of Mektesh, for all the merchants people are cut down, all them that bear silver are cut off, and it shall come to pass that in that time I will search Jerusalem with candles," right? So the Lord he said what? The merchants shall be cut off. And I looked up, what the ancient city Mektesh was, right? It says the ancient city Mektesh was not a separate city, but rather a bustling commercial district within Jerusalem, all right? It was centered on commerce, trade, and money changing, right? So this is specifically speaking to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that there's going to be a crashing from the hills. All right. And when they, are done crashing the U.S. dollar, they will come, all right, with the MOTB. All right. And this is how they want to resurrect. There was a article. Let's see if I can find it. It was an article, and it was saying, what is it? What was it? Bitcoin, Phoenix. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, this one, The Economist, right? And it was basically, all the currencies, right? And then one currency rising like a phoenix from the ashes. It was all the other currencies are burning, right? Which I may make this the headline, but this is really what it is, right? It's really that Bitcoin, right? Which is that digital currency, which is going to lead to the MOTB, right? Revelation 13:16, it says, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is Chi Psi Stigma. All right, or 600,666. Okay. And that word mark, when you see the word mark, right, we always go into it here at Great Millstone. The word mark goes into the charagma, right, which is a incision under the skin, right? It's a physical mark that is going to be placed in people's hands and in their foreheads, technology, right, that is going to be used to buy and sell, right? It's going to be tied between buying and selling, and the infrastructure is here, right? People have it already, voluntarily. So we're coming into that time where, we can see the collapse of the US dollar. No more physical money, no more, literal, like no more physical money, right? What is that going to look like? We don't know. But according to prophecy, there's going to be, a lot of violence, a lot of pushback, a lot of, uncertainty. All right. But what we do know for certain is that Yahweh Shemiah Shai is going to deliver his elect from these times. Okay. Matter of fact, let's get Revelation 3:10, right? It says, Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Okay. And, it doesn't matter. This is why we said flee mentally and spiritually, not physically, because it really doesn't matter where you are. All right. This system is being erected. Okay. The collapse of all these other currencies is taking place, and the only thing they want standing is the digital technology, right? CBDCs. All right. Something that they can control. And, you're going to need the covering of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. That's why we push that name. All right. Because it's not just saying I'm not going to do it. It's having faith in something that's, that's promised. That's what makes the difference. It's the mental preparation, right? It's the, ultimately our powers. It's what's going to be behind you in that day, right? And the Lord is going to confound the idols of Babylon. So if you don't have the name, if you don't have this gospel, all right, then Yahweh Shemiah Shai can get rid of you, man. You know, and he can make you take that MOTB, you know. So we're coming into that time, man, where, hey, you know, things are getting deadly serious. So, you know, I just wanted to do this lesson, you know, going into the rate cuts and how it may affect, you know, the everyday American citizen, right? And even globally, this has implications, right? So, you know, just stay vigilant, all right? And with that, I want to end off by giving all the glory, infinite praise, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that do rule and teach well. Peace, love, and salutation to the hopeful elect that is out there pushing this truth in all sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, giving diligence, make your calling and election sure. Shalom.